So one of you gentlemen very kindly sent me this very interesting Reddit post in regards to the anecdotal experience a lot of women are going through in relation to getting on and off birth control, and how a lot of this actually pertains to this notion that pheromones are a very, very real thing, and they're a very, very tangible thing, especially to our female counterpart. And just a little side note, I really do appreciate when you guys send me stuff. If you have any things you want me to react to, I know this isn't really a reaction channel, but I guess we do go through a lot of content on here. Shoot me over a message on Instagram or X platform, and if I think it has some value, like this one I think has some interesting value, especially in the stories and the comment sections here, then I will definitely make sure to give it my utmost attention. So I just go through this all together. So I got off birth control and now I hate my husband. I mean, can you imagine the dissonance being the husband and recognizing that the woman you're with for X amount of years suddenly just has so much disdain for you, is cold towards you, and fundamentally doesn't want anything to do with you, will scarper out the room at the sound of you coming in and your scent, as we'll learn in just a moment. So I am a female in my 30s, not me, this person, used to love and cherish and appreciate my male husband 30. I recently got off birth control, and every single thing he says, he does, makes me feel sick. Tremendous. Brilliant. I hate the way he smells, the way he thinks, and the way he acts. I resent him to my core. I don't even want to touch him. I mean, gee, imagine that. Your wife not even want to touch you. I'm scared I might end up divorced and regret it. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel this way? Where did I go wrong? Well, I think pertaining to the title of the video, or the reaction, pardon me, is fundamentally where you went wrong. So there's something interesting for me. We're going to go through a couple stories here because there's some interesting comments in the below here. But it's interesting to me when I've done research in this particular area and I've consulted to the best of my knowledge the best scientific literature in relation to this pheromone theory and especially birth control. And I'm not going to make this too scientific and charts and graphs and things like that. I'm just going to go based on a theory which is predicated on the material that I've looked at. But there seems to me to be something to the affinity of when you're telling the body you're fertile versus when you're telling your body you're infertile, your body changes its affinity for the kind of partner that you are seeking. So I'll kind of color that in a little bit more comprehensively in just a moment, but I'm going to go through some of the comments. So the first comment is, it's hormonal, which does pertain to some of the bits and pieces that we've talked about already, but your hormones are going crazy trying to get used to the sudden change. It's withdrawal, basically, but your body will adapt and you'll fall in love with your husband all over again. Don't worry. So this individual seems like, I don't know, that she is speaking from experience, that she's got off birth control, gone through this period and then fallen in love with a husband. I think, going back to my previous point, there's something about the idea that the body, because it's gone from a stage of thinking that it's being pregnant to not being pregnant and being fertile again, that it's starting to seek individuals with higher masculine characteristics, and there's something for me, I believe, I'm not sure if this is actually a study, I might be speaking completely out of pocket here, but your testosterone as a man actually is predicated on your partner as well. So if you're with somebody, you're having regular intercourse, and if she's on the pill, the body believes that it's pregnant already. And you as a partner, I'm sure you've heard these stories of men who go through, I can't remember the exact term, but it's something to the affinity of you mirror your hormonal cycle based on your pregnant wife. So actually men get higher doses of estrogen in their body, and it's almost like their body is replicating or running parallel to her pregnancy. So it kind of rubs off on you in that way. So your testosterone is dipping, and now she's gotten off, and she's starting to find men with higher masculine characteristics and testosterone more attractive, but he's all the way down, probably just reacclimatizing to a new high. Her body's probably perceiving this as a very, very feminine man. He's not high in vigor, in zeal, in testosterone, in fertility. He's not going to be able to get me pregnant. Therefore, what am I picking up? Repulsion. I'm repulsed because, her words, not mine, I hate the way he smells. Hate the way somebody smells. I hate the way he thinks. I hate the way he acts. I resent him to my core. I don't even want to touch him. That is a complete rejection of this particular male to the prospect of, copulation, reproducing with him. Crazy. Other bits and pieces here, individuals talking about going to see a therapist. I'm not sure how that would help. That would probably facilitate a divorce, in my personal opinion. Another individual saying that hormones are crazy. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I couldn't stand my husband. It's like something switched inside me and I hated how he smelled. Then I had my daughter and everything went back to normal. So this is really more credence to the notion that what contraception and birth control does in the forms of, the pill or maybe the coil, whatever it is you're taking, if your partner's taking it as a woman, replicates this idea of pregnancy. Yeah. And in that way, you can theorize, you can make an idea, you can make an assumption that the female body is going to become desensitized to certain individuals and sensitized to other individuals. And it's my theory that it's predicated on the most fertile male. So when you're pregnant and you've got pregnant by your partner, hopefully things are going to stay fairly balanced in that respect. This individual saying no. This might be one case in point. But when you're simulating pregnancy and you come off the pill, therefore you're in a state of fertility according to your hormonal profile, you're going to find men who are more fertile, higher testosterone typically being an indicator of that, more attractive than maybe your current partner. I mean, you hear stories all the time about women coming off birth control and then just breaking up with their husband, their boyfriend, whatever the case may be. It's because of reactions like this. There's a lot of... this is interesting. Hold on. Seconding this, hormones are so powerful, and when there's an imbalance, it's wild. My husband has low T, and the personality change before he was treated for it was like 180. Of course, I feel it too, but in a much more mild manner every month around my period. Your body will adapt, and it will take time, like maybe a year or so. Don't go back on birth control if you can help it. Focus on self-care. Keep yourself grace. And remember, your husband hasn't changed. He's still the same man you always loved. Don't be afraid to go get some blood work done. Consult specialists in that regard. Take care of yourself. Be healthy. So it's interesting she referenced this idea that her husband was low T and the personality change before he was treated for it was like 180. So again, it's interesting how, on both parts, so if you're going to take the hormonal kind of theme in this particular video, it's men are going to have a change in personality when their testosterone is low versus high, and testosterone is related to this idea of fertility, and women are going to have a personality change low versus high with some of the chemicals that are in these birth controls, which also signal what? Fertility. So it's all interlinked, and I know we don't have maybe concrete scientific empirical evidence for this, but it is not difficult to theorize based on these anecdotal reports and some of the studies that have been done, which do have some value to this. This individual experienced this with her ex. It was the weirdest, freakiest feeling. It was like without the birth control, he was suddenly a totally different person, and I basically hated him. I don't have any rational explanation for it either. Like you said, even the way he smelled was awful for a while. It's interesting, the continuity in smell, not even, again, maybe measurable factors in, personality. I suppose that'd be difficult to measure, but it's always smell, it's always scent, it's always something that's a little bit less tangible and, not particularly measurable that we're all picking up on, which is indicating what I've always been saying, is that there's always an element of subconscious attraction with your partner, which is predicated on maybe the senses that you haven't developed too much. I think smell is one of the senses that people have is weakest. There's the organ beginning with a V. I cannot remember the pronunciation, so forgive me. That has become less developed as we've evolved as species. It's more developed in animals, which is why there's a overwhelming number of studies done on pheromones in animals comparatively to with human beings. But if we're going to take the biological component, of course, you have to factor that in. You know, it's not got any relevance. Of course, that's why we do animal studies in the first place. And again, it's a good step in the right direction without being too invasive on human beings. Like you said, even the way he smelled was also for a while. It eventually stabilized and I was into him again, but it took a couple of months more hormones to really straighten out. It was a wild ride. I don't really have any advice. Just hang in there. So there seems to be an acclimating period when you're with your partner for prolonged periods of time, that your body, I think it's probably the hormone oxytocin as well, which is that pair bonding chemical. These chemicals are released whenever you're hugging, holding hands, kissing, doing anything intimate that isn't, let's say, overwhelmingly sexual. And I imagine that the frequency in which that hormone is being released with a particular individual will then build back more attraction or feelings, associated good feelings with that person, and therefore the body is starting to find the smells, more attractive in that way. This is a very well-known phenomenon. There is a very good section in it, I believe, Beyond the Pill, which explains this. If you got together while on the pill, there are physiological reasons why you might not stay attracted to the individual while off the pill. Read that in the section. I met my husband off it, and when I got on it, his breath, every smell again was so foreign to me. Interesting, my wife and I are thinking about getting on the pill, but I'm semi-wary about this for this reasons. I think if you have a partner and perhaps you're taking birth control, it's a really difficult, it's something certainly to be considerate of. I think that, I don't think I have too much great advice in this respect, because the phenomenon isn't something that I have experienced. The partner that I was with for the longest time was taking birth control. And I told her quite transparently, I said in another video, that if I were in your position and I was taking chemicals in my body that told my body that it was, pregnant and it was affecting my personality, my mood, my irritability, my weight, all these things, I would not be taking it. So if you want to stop taking it, stop taking it. I actually didn't know about this when I said this, but it's interesting, if I was posed with the same predicament, would I? What would be ideal is you find a new partner who doesn't believe in, taking invasive birth control, and you can kind of take things from there. And, if you want to do, let's call it Western intercourse, right? I hope you know what I mean by Western intercourse, as apart from maybe Eastern conservative, tantra-based intercourse. You just use a rubber. Of course, I know these things aren't. I don't personally like them, but I think it's the lesser of the two evils if you want to enjoy Western intercourse, now and again. If you've got more self-control, maybe you can not use that particular safety net, because it is a safety net, and you can involve yourself in things like Carezza and Tantra, of course, if she's open to that idea and your self-control is very, very good. I have practiced that successfully before, but it takes a long time to, I wouldn't say a long time, it's like exercise. You have to train yourself to be able to get to a place where you are familiar with that particular nervous route, if that makes sense, because you're reconditioning your nervous system to a different way of engaging in intimate activities, especially ones with huge nervous innervation in relation to the orgasmic pathway. Really interesting study. I really appreciate you, sir, whoever sent that over to me. I've forgotten your name, so please forgive me. Again, if you've got any other pieces of content, books, Reddit posts, videos you want me to do reactions on, I would welcome them. But what do you think, guys? Theories, facts? It looks like facts to me, but I don't know. You tell me. Speak soon.